All right, we've got UTSA women's basketball coach Karon Aston's weekly media availability the week of November 4th, 2024. Roadrunners will open the regular season on Thursday, November 7th, taking on Texas A&M at 11 a.m. ahead of the home opener on Saturday, November 9th against UTRGV at 2 p.m. Coach, if you could start us off with an opening statement, and then we'll field questions using the raise hand function.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Just excited to kick off basketball. I know a lot of teams are tipping it off today, and it's an exciting day for everyone. We had a little shooting practice this morning, and you could tell that the players had a little extra pep in their step today with basketball season starting, and we're looking forward to the challenges of the week, obviously starting with A&M, and then home opener against UTRGV we're looking forward to also.
And we'll start with JJ.
Karon, just what's the excitement level with the team just ahead of the season opener?
Hey JJ, it's they're very excited. I think that, I mean, anytime you talk to basketball players in general across the country, they talk about the grind of off season and how long summer is and how long fall is leading into season, and you know there is an air of excitement among our team just coming off of a positive season last year, going to postseason, and then bringing back some people that I think understand what the level is all about, and bringing in some new guys that we think will help us also. We're super excited.
Jerry?
Yeah, Coach. I wanted to ask about the other night. A lot of kids got into the game. A lot of kids scored. Do you have a different perception about the depth that you have this year, and did you see anything different out there that you maybe didn't? Did you learn anything about your team the other night that you didn't realize you had?
I mean, I don't know that one game is enough of a snapshot to know the answer to that. I mean, obviously we had a scrimmage also, so we've had two that have given us a little bit of an idea of where we are with as a team and where we are individually. And I do think that it excites me about what we can be. There's definitely players that bring something to the table that we necessarily didn't have last year, and I think that's why we recruited them. But I also know there's a learning curve, and there's a process to chemistry, and there's a process to the team developing their identity. And I definitely think that this team can have a defensive identity. I think you can see, as you saw the other night with our group, that we've got a little more length than we've had in the past, maybe a little more speed. So I'm hoping that we can change defenses a little bit more often, maybe play a little bit higher tempo than what we were able to do last year. But essentially, there's a lot of growth that's going to have to happen, but I'm excited about the potential of putting this group together and seeing what we can accomplish.
Greg?
Karon, you guys have improved your overall in-conference record every year since you've been here. So how do you set your expectations now for this upcoming season?
Well, they're always the same, to be honest with you. I mean, we started 4 years ago talking about the goals that every program, and at least as far as the ones that I'm coaching, should have, and that's to try to get to 20 wins, and talk about making postseason, doing things that are consistently what your goals are, and postseason is a goal of ours. I mean, we definitely were excited to go to postseason, but it wasn't what we set out to do. We want to go to the NCAA tournament. It's just something that never changes for us. I mean, we didn't get to 20 last year. We want to get to that. I mean, there's things that are standards that we're trying to uphold, and we get a little bit closer every year, Greg, but we've got to take some more steps this year for sure.
Sean?
Coach, you put together another tough schedule, Texas A&M, Stanford. Some schools put together schedules. They don't all play Division I teams. So why is it so important for you to play such a tough schedule every year to prepare your team?
Well, Sean, I think there's a couple of reasons for it. First of all, I think any time you talk to the student athletes, they're going to tell you that they enjoy playing against good competition. They enjoy playing in environments that are tough. So I think first and foremost, like, you want to make the kids happy, like they want to be in an environment that is challenging to them, and then the second reason is the net. I mean, we're trying to give ourselves an opportunity, not only just for ourselves but for the league, to have multiple bids to the NCAA tournament, and you have to try to play these guys. I mean, it's not some years you might know your team and know that you can play maybe more than two. Sometimes you get fortunate enough to get a draw in a tournament where you get more than a couple, but I'm pretty accustomed to at least playing two on the road that are going to give us a pretty good challenge, and I hope that this program gets to the point where we can bring some here to the Convo. We brought Houston here last year, and I think that's another step for us, is to have some P4 programs or people that will help us in the net actually come to the Convo and play us also. So it's just something I think we all enjoy. It's not easy by any means. It won't be easy going to College Station on Thursday, but I think it's good for our program.
Greg?
Karon, as you get set to open your fourth year here, what are the biggest ways that this program is different compared to the day you arrived?
Well, that's a good question, Greg. I mean, I definitely think that we've gained some respect. Obviously not where we want to be, but I think the steps that we talked about making when my first year here, and we've been able to do some things that I think are really hard in the climate that we all live in athletics, and I think one of them is continuity. I think being able to keep a large portion of our staff the whole entire time that we've been here has been absolutely huge. I think being able to keep players year in and year out. We haven't kept them all, but we've been fortunate enough to have some stay 2 or 3 years now, and they understand what we're trying to get accomplished, and they're actually developing a sense of pride in being at UTSA and helping our program move the needle. And I think that's something that's really special. And obviously we weren't there when I got there, so I think that's probably been the biggest change, is just developing a sense of pride in what you do and a sense of pride in your basketball program.
Jerry?
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask you a little bit about A&M. They made some improvement last year. They got a really good, guard that I think put up 32 points on South Carolina in the Aggies' last game last year, the Koulibaly. Yeah, just wanted to get your assessment of your opponent over in College Station on Thursday, and just what you think of that shooting guard.
Yeah, I mean, she's extremely talented and versatile. That probably is the biggest thing that comes to my mind, is just how versatile she is. I mean, she definitely has perimeter skills and will be a perimeter at the a perimeter player at the next level, but is incredibly overpowering, really, to be honest with you, once you put her in the paint also. So it's a matchup problem. But the thing that jumps out to me about A&M, and again, they have some new pieces, but I think we're going to consistently see pressure, which I think will be a good introduction to college basketball for some of our players. But it's a necessary evil. We're going to see a lot of athleticism. We're going to see a little bit bigger, stronger players that really get after you on the defensive end, which leads into a lot of transition buckets for them. So those are just things that are kind of right off the top of my head that are going to be a real challenge for us as we go in there Thursday.
Sean?
You see so much growth, especially for post players, between year one and year two. What have you seen in Idara this offseason as compared to last year?
Yeah, I think just maturity. I mean, Idara is a special young lady in a sense of having size, but a motor, which sometimes doesn't go together necessarily. But the thing that I love about her is that her motor runs. She's able to play at a high pace, which is really good. But I think just the growth for her there's a couple of things. Again, maturity, just understanding day in and day out what this level takes. But I think, on the court, she's increased her range some. She's gotten a little bit more versatile than what she was. And I think that's kind of a natural progression for a player to take, a skill set that maybe necessarily she didn't have, or Maybe I didn't let her have it last year. I don't know. But we're definitely seeing her stretch the floor a little bit more, and I think that's been a positive for her.
Greg?
Aaron, you guys had such a historic season last year to put together the first winning season this program has seen in a while. What has to happen to take the next step and be in the mix as a league title contender?
Well, we need to stay healthy for sure. I think everybody says that all the time, but I think that there's pieces of the puzzle for us that, from a leadership standpoint, from a production standpoint, we have to keep the right people healthy, and sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. But I think that one real super positive thing is if we're able to stay healthy, then we have depth at a lot of positions. We haven't talked about people in particular, but I think one huge addition has been Nina Delagrion from UIW. Just being able to have a true point guard that can take a load off of Sydney Love and move her sometimes to the 2, or not feeling like it's all on her shoulders at the point guard position has been a huge plus for our team. And then I think just adding more depth. I could go down the line with a lot of the newcomers, but they add depth at every position, which I hope enables us to make a consistent run in conference play. You can look at being able to have different matchups, which we necessarily didn't have last year, and being able to maybe put a little more pressure on a team for 40 minutes than we were able to do.
Sean?
How much of an emphasis is it for you to develop players to not only be successful here, but after they leave here? You have 2 former players on your staff. Kira White's playing professionally. Haley Atwood's following her dreams. How important is that to you?
Oh, it's the most important. I think that we can definitely get caught up in the wins and the losses, and we understand that that's our job and that's what people expect us to do is win. But I think winning off the court and fulfilling what your promise is to their parents when they decide to come here, which is to make sure they get a degree, and that's the most important thing to me. I mean, if for every one of these young women, the ball's going to stop bouncing, and I hope that it's later. I hope that more of them from UTSA have an opportunity to play professionally. I see that right now. I look at our players, and I see 3 or 4 right now that if they stay on the trajectory that they're on, and I'm just saying 3 or 4, it could be more, then they have a chance to go play somewhere, and there's more opportunities now professionally. So I hope that they don't ever lose that dream, but I live in reality from a sense of I know that they need to get a degree and they need to grow as young women, and you hope that they're the next leaders of whatever it is they choose to be, and that's really our focus every day. And I have a staff that it's a beautiful thing to have former players on your staff, because first of all, they know you and they can be a bridge sometimes for the student athletes, but I think just the wisdom that they bring about every day, and just their understanding of us having a common goal as a staff. I mean, my staff really gets it. They understand that that's what we're here for, and the mentoring process is a pretty big deal for us.
JJ?
Karon, what's the state of the programs and with NIL? Like, how are you guys doing there? I know you had a tip-off luncheon. How did that go, and then what's the next step there?
Yeah, I thought the tip-off luncheon was great. I thought that the energy was really, really terrific. And, obviously everyone's excited about Aston, and he's tipping off tonight. And I think that there was definitely a positive energy in the room for the luncheon. But, one of the things that I'm kind of going back to Greg's question, where have we grown? One of the things that I'm so, so proud of is our fan base. And it's been a consistent level of growth each year. But, there are some diehards that showed up the very first time we played and really just kind of fell in love with the way we play the game and the way we do things. And they have really stuck with us. And they've gotten more people to come. And our kids love it. They love the home games. They love playing in the Convo. They love seeing the fans that wait and greet them after the games, but in the midst of that, they've been contributors to our program also, and they've helped us with the continuity that I brought up earlier. I mean, part of the reason why we've been able to sustain people staying year in and year out has been some contributions from people. I mean, is it where it needs to be? There's no question that for us to be able to keep up with, some of the people that I guess you could quote say that their powers in our league or have consistently won championships in the American, then they've stepped up, and it's very clear that they're funding women's basketball. And to be honest with you, why wouldn't you jump on the women's basketball bandwagon right now? Because I think it's actually the hottest sport in the country, and so I think that it's a great time for us to sell our product, and hopefully there'll be more people jump in on UTSA basketball.
Greg?
Karon, you mentioned Sydney Love earlier. What do you expect from her this season as she gets set to open her third year here?
Yeah, probably too much. That's probably what she would say is that, I put a load on Sydney a lot, and it is because she's in her third year and she's a 3-year starter for me. I expect her to be consistent, and I think she always has been. It's who she is. She shows up every day, puts her shoes on, laces them up, and does the best that she possibly can do for our program. And I don't know what else you would expect from a young lady when that's what you get every day. What I'm hoping that she's able to do is play a little bit more free with Nina and not feel the, sort of like the pressure of the world. I think midway through last year, Kira took a lot off of her. And I think that Nina and some of the other players that have matured are going to be able to do that. But, Sydney's just who she is. I mean, she's going to show up every day. And there's never a question about whether she cares or whether she's invested or whether she's going to give you her best. And, that's the most you can expect out of a kid.
Jerry?
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask about Nina and Nye Goni, two of your top newcomers this year, and just how, what was the level of competition that you faced when you were recruiting those two kids?
First of all, I love them both. I think they've been a wonderful addition to our program. Their personalities are contagious, so to say. In particular, Nina's at the point guard position, but Nye has a kind of a happy-go-lucky attitude about herself, but then when she gets on the court, she plays really hard, which has really helped us. It helps us to have an older player that plays really hard, because I say this all the time, that's the one thing that's really difficult to coach at this level. You need to play hard. You need to compete, and then we can get to the basketball side of that if you can do those two things, and both of them do that. Recruiting-wise, it was kind of unique, to be honest with you, and I think that Jeff says this a lot. I hear him talking a lot about if you can get a player on campus and they can get around our program, then it sells itself. We were fortunate enough that we got them here pretty early, and they loved, for lack of better words, they loved the vibe, and they fell in love with what they thought they could bring to the table, and I think it was more about our kids and my staff. It's really fun to be around players that are happy, and I think our team is happy. And I think it's great to be around a bunch of coaches that you can tell are really invested in you as a person. And it's really obvious that my staff is. They're invested in development. Both of these players want to be better basketball players. They want somebody to really pour into them, and I think that was a huge selling point. That's about all I really know about the recruiting process.
Sean?
What was your takeaway from the St. Mary's game the other night, and what did you learn about your team from that game?
Well, I thought we had a more intentional defensive effort than we did in our scrimmage. So I was pleased with that. I thought we were a little bit more attentive to consecutive stops and being a little bit better on the boards than we were in the scrimmage. We turned it over too much, and that's just not going to work. When we go down to College Station, it probably wouldn't work against anybody. So I think we've got to value possessions a little bit more, and maybe that was playing everybody and having a lot of youth on the floor, but really good teaching tools, Sean, that we could take back from the film, which we haven't had until now. So I think that was the best thing about it, is we actually had it on film, and sometimes That old adage that film doesn't lie. It's a lot better to be able to show them something against another team.
Greg?
Karon, what do you expect from Jordan Jenkins in her final year, presumably with a chance to play a full healthy season this time around?
I expect Jordan just to be Jordan. I think that she's a very unique talent in a sense of efficiency. Her production in the efficiency that she plays the game with is as good as I've ever seen. That I've been. I mean, I have another player that plays for the Washington Mystics right now, Ariel Atkins. That she was just so efficient that sometimes you got lost in that, and they don't overexert their energy. They're just very efficient basketball players. Their percentages are normally high. And I think that if she can just stay the course, it's her last year. I mean, I think she understands that, and she's anxious to get on the court and have a full season again. She's excited to play, and I guess my expectations aren't as much as my wishes for her. I mean, you get to this point where you're just like, you just want her to have a good solid year of being healthy, and the expectations will take care of itself because she's a talented young lady.
Is she physically, at a higher level compared to where she was last year, or where does she stand in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, I thought she came in, to be honest with you, I thought they did a great job with getting her ready, which is the only reason why she played is because she was so, she was ready. But I think the biggest difference now is she's had a chance to work on her conditioning base. So, one of the things that'll be real telling as we begin, and I think it will be a process for her, is just putting back-to-back days together and back-to-back games. We go to Puerto Rico and play at 12 noon and then turn around the next day and play at 3 o'clock. Those are challenges for her that are a little bit unknown because she hasn't done that. So I think that will be really good for her to have the non-conference season just to get ready for, the grind, even going into postseason play. You go to the conference tournament, you have to play consecutive days in a row. And so I'm excited for her to go through non-conference play because I think that's going to prepare her for that.
We saw her shoot a much higher three-point percentage last year, albeit in a pretty limited number of attempts. How much has she improved in that area in your time around her, and how big of a part of her game is that going to be this year?
I think it'll be a big part. I wouldn't say that she's improved from where she was last year because I thought the improvement happened while she was injured. She spent a lot of time shooting the basketball, which was all she could do, and so I thought that that's where she gained so much improvement in her three-point shot. But we're also, experimenting a little bit with her playing out on the perimeter and playing with a bigger lineup. So, her ball handling will be challenged, and she's been working on that a lot. I don't know that we'll have a heavy dose of her at the three, but I think there'll be some times that we can put her at the three and play a bigger lineup, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that also.
The last thing I wanted to ask about was Asia Proctor. What's kind of her status and outlook for this season?
Yeah, Asia has taken a step away from the program as of last week. She's, for the privacy for her, she has taken a step back. She's going to take care of some off-court challenges, and I do not have a timetable on her return to play.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps things up. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.